This video is going to be the only guide you need to setting up a profitable LinkedIn advertising campaign in the shortest time possible without having to set up complex pixels or sales funnels. If you don't know who I am, my name is Ravi Abuvala. I'm the founder of Scaling with Systems, where we've worked with over 2,000 businesses in the last few years, helping them grow through multiple different systems, such as LinkedIn advertising. I've also spent over $4 million of my own money on the different advertising platforms. So what I want to show you today is from real-life experience. And by the end of this, not only are you going to have a profitable LinkedIn advertising campaign up and running, but you're going to know exactly who should be and shouldn't be running LinkedIn ads, how to set up a LinkedIn advertising account and campaign in just a few minutes without any of that complex stuff that everybody else is talking about. The best campaign and ad structure in order to have the best chances of your campaign being successful. And finally, what to do if your ads aren't performing so you make sure you're fixing the right thing as quickly as possible. In reality, in order for you to know whether you should be running LinkedIn ads or not, it all comes down to numbers. And this is something I want to get through your head right here because a lot of people tell you, oh, you should be running LinkedIn ads or you shouldn't be running LinkedIn ads. My audience is on that platform. My audience isn't on that platform, blah, 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 have about whether people are on or not on the platform, and you just look at it through the numbers. Then I almost guarantee you'll see success with this because you're coming at it from the right point of view. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. So this is a little graph I like to show my clients, but this is pretty much what we're going to be setting up today. This is a lead generation form on LinkedIn. I'm going to show you how to set all this up. But before we even look at setting this up, we want to figure out what are the numbers to see if this economically makes sense for you. So first thing on the left-hand side we're going to have here is our ad, and this is obviously what we're running on LinkedIn. If you have a really good ad, it should have about a 1% to 3% click-through rate on the advertising platform. So that means that if the ad is shown to 100 people, one person actually clicks on the ad. Then you're going to have a LinkedIn lead general form opt-in where people put in some information, their name, email, phone number, maybe what job title they have. And the people that start that application, so they clicked on the ad, the people that start that form there and finish, it's not going to be 100% of people. So you might have a cost per lead, which is name, email, phone number, a little bit about their professions, of anywhere from $40 to $100. Now, for some of you, when I talk about a $100 lead, you may be crying. You may be thinking, this is totally not for me. And that's why I want to talk about the numbers first, because on a platform like Facebook, for example, you can get leads for $2 to $4, and I see it all the time. But for others of you, if you're talking about really highly qualified, maybe business-to-business leads, you would literally be jumping up in joy if I could to you for $100. So that's why you have to understand from the very beginning, if you're not comfortable paying up to $100 per lead, then already you may know that LinkedIn is not the right fit for you. But of course, we don't just want leads. I think a lot of people just sell leads online, and we don't want leads. We want booked, qualified calls on our calendar. So of the leads that you get their information from, if you have a really good video sales letter and a really good booking page, which is something that we actually build for our clients, then you're going to have about a 20 to 40% of those leads conversion rate into a qualified booked call. And if you do that math, it's going to be about $100 to $500 cost per qualified book call. Once again, for some of you, this is amazing. For others of you, you're like, there's no way I could pay $500 cost per qualified book call. And then of the people that book a call, only a certain percentage of them are going to show up. So around 50 to 60% of people are going to show up. And that means that you could have a cost per sales call conducted anywhere from $150 to $800. But once again, if you're selling something multiple thousands of dollars and you're paying $800 to have somebody show up on the sales call who's qualified and interested in buying what you have to sell, then that could be a steal for you. And then finally, you look at your cost per customer. And this is obviously not everyone you get on the sales call with is actually going to buy with you. And so 20 to 40% we see is a really good close rate for qualified booked calls. And so if it's on the low end, you're looking at maybe a $4,000 cost per acquisition, cost per customer. And if you're closing at 40%, then you're looking at a $375 cost per customer. So for example, if you're selling something and it's $50 up front, then and right here, I showed you the numbers here, that you're on the low end, cost per acquisition could be $375. Right off the bat, you may think that LinkedIn ads is not for you. You might go over another platform where the cost per eyeballs are a little bit cheaper if maybe the targeting isn't as good as it is on LinkedIn. Now that we know the numbers that we should be looking at, Let's go and start setting up our first LinkedIn campaign. This is inside the LinkedIn Campaign Manager. I'm not going to walk through the whole process of signing up to a LinkedIn account and setting this up because in reality, I want to keep this as concise as possible. But all you need to do is go to LinkedIn.com/LinkedIn Campaign Manager, and you can log in your LinkedIn account there, attach a credit card, and you're ready to start running ads. And this is what the main dashboard looks like whenever you're setting up your advertising campaign. So there's three main areas you want to look at here. There's campaign groups, and that's like, think of this as the top of the umbrella. And you could have a group for retargeting ads. You could have a group for cold ads, meaning running ads to cold traffic. You could have a group for LinkedIn lead general forms. You could have a group for LinkedIn brand awareness campaigns. So think of campaign groups as the highest category. Then you have campaigns, which is the next category below that. And that is going to be when you're getting a little bit more specific. So you could have all your retargeting campaigns inside of a retargeting campaign group. And each different campaign is going to have different targeting inside of it. And then it's going to have different ads inside of it as well. So you should understand how those three work together. Remember, campaign group on the far left is the highest. Then you have campaigns, and then you have ads which are sitting inside of those campaigns. So let's go back to campaign groups and we're going to click create right here. You're going to come here and you're going to want to click campaign group. We're going to name this, let's just say, LinkedIn lead generation campaign. And I'm going to put cold at the beginning of it because I want myself and my other people that are coming inside of here to know that this is a cold campaign. So these numbers are not going to be as good as maybe a warm or retargeting campaign. I always stress to my clients the importance of naming conventions. I'm not going to go through it in this video here, but don't just make it type something that's easy for you right now. Type in something that's easy for you to reference later on, even if it takes a few more seconds right now, because I promise you when you have dozens of campaigns and campaign groups and ads, it makes it a lot easier to manage stuff. Now, underneath the group objective, there's a bunch of different ones inside of here. Just to walk through a few of them, brand awareness would just be like, hey, show this ad to as many people as possible for the lowest cost possible. Engagement will be, show this ad to as many people as possible who are likely to like or watch this video. And then the one we're going to be focusing on here is lead generation. So show this ad to be most likely to fill out a LinkedIn lead generation campaign. A lot of people talk about LinkedIn conversions for website conversions. But in order to do that, you have to set up the LinkedIn pixel, and that's outside the scope of this video. And in all honesty, I think you can get away with running an incredibly successful LinkedIn lead generation without even having to worry about setting up the pixel. And you can start getting qualified leads in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So let's just click on LinkedIn lead generation. Then we're going to come down here and you're going to want to click run continuously from a start date. And I do like to do a budget optimization on here. So I'm going to set a daily budget for about $100 a day. Once again, if I'm going back over to my numbers here and I'm trying to get a call a day for my LinkedIn campaign, I can't be spending $20 a day and then say, oh, why am I not getting any booked calls? Because it's going to take 4 days to get one booked call, assuming that your campaign is working correctly. And that's the same thing with a lead. You're spending $20 a day on leads on your ads. Well, it's going to take 2 days to even get one lead. So understand how these numbers work with your campaign. And that will also help you know what your budget should look like inside of here. So you want to run the campaign. I always run it for the next morning, the next day immediately. It makes things simple. And then I'm going to click on create in the bottom right hand side. So now we have this cold LinkedIn lead generation campaign here. I'm going to click on this, and now we're inside that campaign group. So now we're going to want to create a campaign. So we're inside the campaign group. Now we're creating a campaign. We're confirming this is the right LinkedIn campaign group that we want, which it is. So we're going to click next. And then we're going to name the campaign. So once again, I'm going to follow a very similar naming convention to what I just did. We're going to call it LinkedIn lead generation campaign. But here I'm going to add in a little bit of a naming convention to let me know what I'm doing or who I'm targeting inside this one. So for this example here, let's just say I'm targeting accountants. I run an advertising agency and I'm trying to target accountants. So I might just say accountants and I might say, let's say I'm only targeting accountants that have 10 to 50 employees. And that might be a really nice sweet spot for us to be running ads from. So that's going to be the naming convention. So that way, whenever I'm looking at multiple of these, let's say I eventually run an ad and it's for accountants at 1 to 10 employees. I can very easily see the difference in those campaigns just by looking at the naming conventions. For me, I'm only going to be running ads inside of the United States because that's going to be where very likely the most qualified people are going to be. And then now, as we scroll down here, it's going to say, where is your target audience? So I'm going to choose the United States because for accountants, it's very likely going to be United States accountants. If you wanted to, you could get specific with states, but I don't want to do that because I know that I can service any accountant in the United States. Then I want their audience profile set to English.